Coffee Talk. I am your host, MISHUMA SABA, M.SABA, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Are we here now? Are we here now? Are we here now? Are we here now? How y'all doing? Welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. This is our Wednesday night sports edition. And there's a lot going on in the news. You know how we do it with sports. And we ain't talking about the wins and the losses. We talking about the different intricacies that's going on behind the scenes in the world of sports. You know what I'm talking about? But welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast. Give me one moment. I've been having a problem with my damn sports chair right here. And I either need to take it in or I need to buy a new one because the air is not holding, or perhaps I need to tighten it up. I don't know. I don't have a TV studio of people that checks all these things. You know what I mean? But happy to be here. It's Wednesday night. It's Wednesday night sports edition. It's January 25th, 2023. How are y'all doing today? How are you doing today? Man, you know what? I am mad at myself for missing that Cincinnati Bengals Buffalo Bills game. I've been seeing little highlights and stuff, and the game was played in the snow. And you know, I've always been a fan of that. I've always been a fan of watching the Buffalo games when it's in the snow. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm just mad I missed that. The boy Diggs is in the news, wide receiver from the Buffalo Bills. You know, him and the quarterback got into a little argument along the sidelines. That happens. That's just you know, players and their competitive nature. So, you know, but what's up with y'all? How are y'all's kids doing? Are y'all's kids playing any sports? If so, go ahead and leave a comment as to what your kids are doing. And if they're not playing any sport and they're just excelling at doing other great things, go ahead and leave a comment as well. Because, you know, this is Black excellence here at Coffee Talk Podcast. And we like to go ahead and, you know, acknowledge the flavor of great people. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, leave a comment. Let us know. What sport is your kids playing right now? Are you guys playing basketball? Are they cheerleading? Are y'all preparing for track? Spring's coming. Are you preparing for, baseball, cross country, first jobs, you know? Or starting a business, go ahead and let us know. Definitely. But yes, this is Coffee Talk Podcast. And if this is your first time tuning in, let me just get you here. Come on in. Come on in. All right. Well, listen, this is a cultural variety podcast show. We appear 3 times a week. Sunday, Monday is an alternate night, but we like to call that cultural studies night. We like to go ahead and give props to our authors, our doctors, our scholars, our scientists, our people. We like to do poems. We like to just be real Black excellence. And then on Wednesdays, like I said before, Wednesdays is our sports night. And again, we're not a typical sports show. We don't care about who won or lost. We like to talk about the different intricacies that's going on behind the scenes in the world of sports. And then Friday, Saturday night, also an alternate night, and that's our third night of the week. That's when you get to come in and we may have a guest. We may play 10-question Q&A, but we like to have fun, laughter, humor, and have a good time. So if this is your first time to Coffee Talk Podcast, come on in, pour yourself some coffee, a cappuccino, some water, some wine, some beer. But whatever you do, come on in, kick your feet up, and enjoy our humble home here at Coffee Talk Podcast. All right, so it's Wednesday night sports night. Today's flavor. Let's get right into it, shall we? Today's flavor is smooth French vanilla cappuccinos, smooth French vanilla cappuccinos. And I'll tell you why. Because it's cold right now here in the Twin Cities. We had some warm weather this past week. We was like in between 26 and 30. So we starting to warm up. But right now it's cold. And I guess we're going to get hit with a little dip. And it's going to get cold, they say, this weekend. So, again, tonight's flavor, being that it's evening, is a smooth French vanilla cappuccino on a cold, wintry evening because it's smooth and it feels warm, has a refreshing taste, and it definitely keeps the body juvenated. You know what I'm saying? It definitely keeps the body juvenated because you don't want to be walking around stiff, cold looking, right? Right. So tonight's flavor is smooth French vanilla cappuccino. And also, tonight's wise words. Tonight's wise words is from a brother that was born October 17th, 1968. His father inspired many people in the world through his music and his humanitarian. But tonight, his wise words is one of Bob Marley's kids, Ziggy Marley. That's right, Ziggy Marley. And if you don't know Ziggy Marley, some of his best work is just check out Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers from 1988 through 1993. If you really like that, that Rasta music, you know what I'm talking about? That's wise words of Ziggy Marley. And so Ziggy Marley said this. Thank you. Ziggy Marley said, the African American community still needs to come together as one and stand up for rights of the people and what's happening in their culture and the community. I'm going to say that again, the wise words of Ziggy Marley. He states, the African American community still needs to come together as one and stand up for rights of the people. I might have left that out. Stand up for the rights of the people and what's happening in their culture and their community. These are the wise words of Ziggy Marley. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to have a good, fun night. Sports night. I'm bringing in my guest, my co-host. They've been on the show before. I'm so grateful to these brothers, man. They got a key, so they always come in the back door. And I'm like, man, y'all in the house tonight? They're like, yeah, we're in the house tonight. They active. They've been on the show several times. National recording artist Rob St. Q is going to be on the show tonight. Also, my brother Leo. Love his mind, his intellect. He's going to be on the show tonight. He's another journalist in the game. And we're going to talk sports. So let's go ahead and bring those brothers in. Let me just get everybody on here first and I'll introduce you. Peace. Greetings, Rob St. Q, Brother Leo. How are y'all doing tonight?
All good. Happy to be here.
Yes, man. I'm happy that y'all are here, man. And you already know the script tonight. Y'all know what we're going to talk about, man. Ooh, there's a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff going on. Tonight, if you're just tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast, we're going to talk about Ed Reed, number 1, first round pick, 24th overall, Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, former team is the Baltimore Ravens. And he has a little situation going on with Bethune-Cookman College, HBCU, and we all love HBCU. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're also going to talk about LeBron James, 148 points away from Kareem. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Ed Reed, talk to me, Rob. What's your thoughts on Ed Reed's situation right now?
I think the Ed Reed situation is very interesting to me because I was one of those guys who was on the side that Deion should have maybe stayed at Jackson State until I found out. I've heard the rumors that the business and stuff was in question, and some of the conditions and things like that was crazy. So with Ed Reed, as refreshing as it was to hear his passion for the kids and the program and HBCUs as a whole, Bethune-Cookman, the passion in which he blasted the school. I think he could have did it in a different way, but sometimes you got to say it how you say it in order for people to hear it. I'm not privy to, I don't know if he said it before and this was the boiling point. You know what I'm saying? I'm not privy to that information. He might still be employed there if he had said it differently, but I think putting him on blast like that, it kind of got him in a situation where he didn't need to be. But nevertheless, whether he was going to be the coach or not, I think a great thing was done because now it puts the accountability on the HBCUs. I never knew that a lot of them were that in that bad condition. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of this stuff is just neglect. I mean, you could talk about not having funding and stuff, but when it's trash on the field, I mean, you don't need no funding to go clean it up.
No doubt.
It shouldn't be the coach's job to do that.
Absolutely. There's something I want to touch on that you mentioned when you stated that, you know, you didn't know it was like that, the condition. And you know where we picked that up from subconsciously is the Cosby Show and how television pointed out, and not just the Cosby Show, because we had what's my director's name?
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee, that also showed the beauties of HBCU. This is what made a lot of us want to go to HBCUs because of the vision that they created. But something that comes to my mind when I think about this is the black boule. They are in the positions, gatekeeping positions at these HBCUs. There's always been a black boule.
Right.
You know, and every 4 years, the United States gets a president. And part of his getting in office is, I'm going to promise to send money to HBCUs. And I don't think that they're not sending it. I believe they are. Because they're not going to give a lot anyway. They're going to give enough to pacify the voters. You know? So these institutions are getting the money. But it's the brothers in position, the gatekeepers. They need so much more money. And I say this with a backing of what Deion Sanders just said. He said he sold out the stadium. 60,000. And he said when he went to count tickets, it was 24,000 sold. Brother Leo, talk to us tonight.
Well, as a HBCU dropout, I have some, I guess, some inside experience with the animal that we speak on right now. Basically, what it is like we're holding a mirror up to the black community once again, where we're looking at our faults. You know what I'm saying? You know, gatekeepers, whatever you want to call them, boule, whatever you want to call them, your special Negroes that's in place that that stifle, you know, that stifle the real quote unquote black folks from going on, and they pass along the handkerchief hat Uncle Tom, not Uncle Tom, but Sambo Coons. You know what I'm saying? And so what you have at the HBCUs, you had Bill Cosby during the 80s when the show was hot, giving all the HBCUs money to keep going.
I remember that.
You had several administrations that was hitting them over the head with good money. But when you have the wrong individuals ahead of the hen house, the eggs get stole. So at the end of the day, you got the wrong individuals, you know, running things. You know, you have the situation where it's like, you know, well, we're going to continue to pick from the same pool of people because, again, like you said, gatekeeper mentality. Like we have that around the Twin Cities right now. You know, certain individuals can molest children. They can rob banks. They can slap old people. But because who they're connected to, oh, that's a good person.
Mm.
But let the average person do a sliver of that. Oh, burn their ass at the stake, tar and feather them.
When did we start to notice the HBCUs not getting money, or that the administration was something was shady going on? Like you said, I remember Bill Cosby used to hit them over the head, man, with 10, $20 million endowments to.
That's what happens when you have no oversight. They gave these black people, they gave these black schools this money, and you had, you know, Amos and Andy, kind of like Kingfish characters, big potentates running the show, mismanaging the funds, paying for their tricks, you know, paying for abortions, paying for ugly suits. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, they've been allowed to mismanage money for generations. Like, look at the little thing that went down last year, and I got clowned on Facebook when we were when they were I mean, the big scandal where the children at Howard couldn't be in their dorm because it was full of mold and it was fucked up. But yet that school had just got a lot of federal money, but yet the students can't be in their dorm. I mean, if the students can't be in their dorm, what's the point of spending all that money for athletics when your main goal is to educate students?
Absolutely. Rob, talk to us.
Yeah, I think that's really the biggest problem. It's the the misappropriation of the funds that we're getting, because I seen that Dr. Dre had recently, him and Jimmy Iovine have given $70 million to USC. And my first thought is, well, why wouldn't you give that to the HBCUs that need it? But then my second thought is, well, maybe he don't trust the people that's running the HBCUs to do it.
That's true. You know,
so I try not to do too much pocket watching or telling people how to spend their money. But as somebody that is who wants to see change, and I want to see the HBCUs, that image that I was shown with the Cosby Show and School Days in a different world, I want it to be that and better. You know what I'm saying? I want to tell my daughter to consider going to an HBCU, but I don't want her getting sick with mold. You know what I'm saying? I don't want her having the worst possible conditions to get her education in. So we just got to figure out how to remove the people that's not doing right at the top and put people that is going to do right in their place.
Man, I believe that is very hard. I think we have to get what we can get out of it, but it's hard to move them people because they're in position, and they've been in position for so long. They're the black boule. The black boule does so much harm to our community as well, because they're so easily to not be spotted, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? They fit in so well. Oh, that's the so-and-so of the community. This is the so-and-so of the community. And a lot of times they be rotten, you know, very rotten, you know. More questions just pertaining to this. So I saw the video. I'm sure you guys have too. The Ed Reed video. He was on the golf cart, and he was, you know, yelling about the conditions. And I'm gonna break down a couple different things that came to my mind, and I want y'all to jump in wherever you want, man. But at first thing I thought about was the fact that he just got hired as a coach. You know, I was in sports mode for a minute, and for about 3 seconds I was happy. I'm like, all right, because we just lost Deion, you know, and I don't want to say we lost him. Deion moved on, and he's still doing good things for the youth, for young men and women. And that's God's work, man. So I'm not upset with that at all. But I was so happy to see Ed. But when I started to see, and it only lasted 3 seconds, because then he went on this rant in this rampage. And perhaps he is right about the conditions. But as a head coach, because I'm still in sport mode, I was like, no, Ed ain't ready for that. I know Ed of being a hard-hitting safety. I know Ed of being the leader of a locker room, a leader of men. But when we talk about football in that sense, a leader of men, meaning that you're just another leader of them soldiers on the field.
Mhm.
It takes a whole nother empowerment to be in a leader realm, because you got to know how to not let your emotions overcome you. I shouldn't even be here.
Right.
I was like, what? You shouldn't be here. And all of that was just telling me, and it didn't make me turn on him, but it just made me say, he's doing this the wrong way. He's not ready to be a head coach.
Hold on, man. Hold on.
Yeah.
He just did his version of Denny Green imploding on the situation that he was dealing with. I do agree he could have did it in a more tactful way,
Right.
but what needed to be said needed to be said. These excuse me, these schools get millions of dollars, federal money, donations, alma mater, all that business. And there's really no accountability for what's happening with the money. You have failing programs, you have infrastructure that's rotten to its core. What are you doing with the money?
No, I hear what you're saying there.
Where is the money?
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's sad, you know, how that situation ended with Dion. But you know, I'm glad it showed everybody, because I think black people, black males especially, have this romanticism with football, whether it be collegiate football, professional football, that you know, like they can see it right in their face. This is nothing but the plantation modern era, where they can still sell you, they can still put you on exhibition, they can work you out, they damn near can look in your mouth, they look at your balls, they tell you to bend over and cough. That, I mean, they ask you about how promiscuous your mama was. I mean, it's just like, it's disrespect. We really need to look at our entertainment. And you know, things never was resolved, and I'm not echoing that other dude, but things never was really resolved. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Kaepernick. That was never resolved.
Never.
You know, a lot of things was never resolved, but you know, people were so thirsty to get the game back that we accepted a slap in the face again.
Yeah.
And they thought that people kneeling from some, you know, for some pledge of allegiance was a major thing. That's nothing. I would never kneel in front of nobody, in front of nothing. That's a sign of capitulation. That means that you're giving up when you bend that knee.
You know what?
You know what I'm saying?
When I think about the kneel and all that, I think a lot of that was a distraction. And the reason why is because a lot of information, has come out about that whole Colin Kaepernick and NFL thing. And before I say anything pertaining to just Kaepernick, do you know that the NFL had just signed an endorsement contract with the armed services? So they did that even before the Kaepernick, the American flag and all this.
Right. I mean, because enlistment is down. Enlistment is down. They're getting ready to enact the draft. There's a lot of things that's going on, and they're throwing sports and petty shit, you know, petty celebrity shit as for us, you know, so it can be blind. So when it really pops off, that we're just sitting there looking crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask this question. Do you think that the NFL now is just too political?
Yeah, I think it's always been political to a certain degree. I think when you get to the head of every organization, sports or not, especially when entertainment is involved, the number one thing it all comes down to is that almighty dollar. And something that we are taught is pure and unobjective. And if you can play, you can play. And if you can't, you can't. And if you work hard, this will go this way or that way. I think there's always some corruption at the top of most things, especially those things that are profitable.
Yeah.
Certain things happen because, you know, you think it's the luck of the draw. I remember when they used to show the NBA draft lottery on TV.
Mm-hmm.
We used to show the little ping pong ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now they just come out with the envelopes already. Like, this is what happened backstage.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, wait. So I'm very I'm always suspicious of it, but it's definitely, in terms of the political aspect that I think you're speaking about. Yeah, it's definitely too political. But they have to do what's in the best interest of the deals they sign, the TVs, the sponsors, and the way they want to control the masses, and who they want to vilify got to be vilified, and all of the, they got to orchestrate it that way.
Absolutely right. I was thinking that there's some people out there that still thinks this is the, I worked my tail off all my life to get to this position, and it's the competitive thing, but it's no longer the competitive. The part they forget about when I hear them talk is that this is entertainment. And I heard a guy once say, well, why would they do that? Because it's their brand.
Mm-hmm.
So just like with Coffee Talk Podcast, if tomorrow I want to change my intro to another intro, I can.
Right.
But we're so caught up in that, no, that would be cheating. But it's not cheating because that's their brand. Right. You are an employee of their brand. I remember my uncle, Charles Neal, rest in peace, used to always say, no one man is bigger than the shield. And he meant the NBA shield, the NFL shield. HBCUs. Speaking of HBCUs, Fisk University, women's gymnastics team is now competing against the big schools, the big D1 schools, NCAA. And what's y'all's thoughts on that?
Great.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
They're off of the because when it comes to HBCUs, only so many schools really compete at the D1 NCAA level. Texas Southern being one of them. USC Texas Southern in the NCAA tournament and stuff, but you don't really see the Gramblings, the Southerns, the Malcolm X Community and Junior College in Chicago, or you know what I mean. So
because it goes back to what you say, Saba. It goes back to what you said. Mm-hmm. You got them gatekeeper people in the way, and they're not good with football. Let's just deal with football. They're not good with football. You look at who Grambling put in the head of their football program. You look at him as a head coach, a black head coach in NFL, and he has one of the most felonious records that there ever was. When you settle for mediocrity, you're going to have a mediocre product. And if we're just coming from a business standpoint, HBCUs have had the courtesy, the blessing of being black, and they've had black support, but they do not put out a competitive, their product is garbage. It's not quality. Deion brought some quality to that. It would have brought quality to that. I mean, so the old guard is stepping in the way of progress being made. Now, I mean, you have a situation to whereas, and I'm not going to go on long, where you got the Rooney Rule for black head coaches in the NFL. They're still not getting on, even though you got this rule in the NFL that they're supposed to interview a certain amount of black head coaches. They're still not getting on. Oh, you have another medium for former athletes. You know what I'm saying? To get their name out there, to make money for their family, to do something reciprocal for the black community, i.e. the black colleges. And you got the old guard in the way stopping shit because they want to keep their hand in the pocket. They want to keep on stealing. They want to keep on driving Bentleys. They want to keep on, putting out a failing thing. And black people, we're too gullible, and we continue to be too loyal to bullshit, and we continue to go for the failing product. They, you know what? They don't care if they got Deion Sanders or whoever to come in there and head coach. They can have Barry Sanders come in. They're still going to make money from their black bowl games like the Bayou Classic. Those schools, Southern and Grambling, make buku money from those games. They don't need these star players to do that. We need to step back and say, hey, we're not going to support a faulty product no more. We don't care if you're black. You have a shitty product and we don't want it.
I would say, And even me, when I see another black person initially, I feel good because that's a black person. But what do they say? All brothers ain't brothers,
Right.
and all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Right.
You understand? It's like so, and they get by. I think based off of that, they know that they're black, and we think that they're on our side, and it turns out that they're on the side that brings them the most money instead of the most change. And that's what we need. And like my man said, they're stepping in the way of change. We had a very good opportunity. I do believe that if they were committed to making things right, Dion might have stayed.
I think so too. He was doing a wonderful job, man.
Right. And not just him, but others would have came. Ed Reed, this could have been the start of the transformation. But when you got the wrong people, corrupt people up there, and they're used to just doing it the way that they're doing it, then it's never going to change. And I don't blame people for not donating to a corrupt system.
Thank
you. They also have two other NFL former recognizable names. Last time I checked, and I should have did more in-depth research tonight, but I thought Lovie Smith is headed over there. Eddie George is somewhere over there at one of those schools. Mm-hmm. So they're getting our athletes to come back. Mm-hmm. But because it's so corrupt, they're not maintaining our athletes. This is what I want to say. I want to talk to the viewers for a moment. What is your thoughts on our star athletes going back to HBCUs? Do you feel that was Dion wrong to leave Jackson State? Have you ever attended an HBCU game or even watched the Bayou Classic on television? I know NBC's been showing it for about 15, 20 years. Go ahead and leave a comment and tell us what your thoughts are. Anything. Have you ever checked out the marching band? HBCU marching bands are historic. Go ahead and leave a comment. Hit the share button. And if you're watching on YouTube, definitely subscribe to the show. Here's one of the things that I want to say about this Ed thing before we move on is that, hundreds of Bethune-Cookman students had gathered to protest recently about the current campus conditions. So everybody's waking up. Students are asking that Ed Reed be continue to be retained as the head coach. Would you want to be head coach after this being all out in the news and the fact that you were a little irate? How do you mend that? Talk to me.
I wouldn't want to be head coach simply because I don't want to be anywhere where I'm not wanted. Where I know that if there's a way we can come to a conversation and figure some things out, sure, I would love to make an impact on the kids and do everything I said I was going to do. I think he got a family member that's on the team. He was upset that he had to leave them. So yeah, if you can make it right, make it right. But just to save face or just because y'all's pressuring me, I work with kids every day, and I tell them if somebody don't want to play with you, don't play with them. And if I make them play with you, they're gonna play with you not the same as if they wanted to play with you. They're gonna treat you different if I force it. So if the fans and everybody say hire him and they hire him based on that, it's just a matter of time before they fire him again. Or it's gonna be a living hell for him, I believe. So if they can come to an agreement, they can make some changes. If Ed can keep his emotions in check, if they can stop being so corrupt and start doing the right thing, cleaning up the field at the very least, then sure. If not, nah.
What's your thoughts, Brother Leo?
I'm with him. No, I wouldn't want to have no part of it. They had that. I mean, if they're he's not going to have the proper support to have a successful program. They're going to want justification for getting rid of him. He's not going to have the support he needs to have a successful program. And also, it shows you the people that's in power are inept. So I wouldn't want to be anywhere that I have to, where there's a brain trust or stupidity around me. So no, I wouldn't want no part of that.
Okay, no doubt. No doubt. Hey, if you're just now tuning in, this is Coffee Talk Podcast. This is our Wednesday night sports edition, as you can see. And yo, we don't care about who won and lost the game. We talking about what's going on behind the scenes. You know what I'm talking about? What we're going to do is we're going to get ready to take a 30-second commercial break. And when we come back, King James is in the news. Let's talk about it. Peace, 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 peace. And welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast. This is your cultural variety podcast show. I am your host, MISHUMA SABA, M.SABA. And this is our cultural variety podcast. As you can see here, I got my family in the building. Rob St. Q, Brother Leo. Man, we talking sports. Wise words tonight was that brother right there in the corner, Ziggy Marley. So we definitely wanted to make sure we get his photo up so that you young people will also know who your people are. This may inspire you to want to go check out his music. You can find his music on Spotify and all over the world. You know, technology's technology. How do you not find music these days, right?
Right.
So welcome back to the show. NBA action. It's fantastic. That was always one of my favorite commercials. You remember that commercial, Rob?
Yep, I sure do.
Man, when you heard that shit, man, you knew you was about to see a good Boston Celtics Lakers game, or you was going to see the Lakers in Detroit, or you was going to see Philly in Boston, or every now and then they'll sneak Dominique in from the South to get the South ratings,
right?
You know. But yeah, NBA action is fantastic. King James, he's in the news. He dropped what did he drop last night? I know he hit 9 threes. I wrote it down. He hit 9. He hit 9 out of 9 out of 14 threes. He dropped 40. No, I'm reading this wrong. Let me back myself up. He dropped 46 last night, 46, and 9 of them was 3-pointers. And then they said this today through the web. They said that LeBron James done dropped 40 on 30 of the 32 NBA teams. He done dropped 40 on every team. Like, come here, let me give you 40 real quick. Woo! Brother Leo, I'm starting with you, man. Talk to me about Bron.
Well, I used to hate on him a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always for the underdog, you feel me? And he was just anointed the next thing since Jordan. He didn't have to earn nothing coming in. He was just like, oh, he's just the heir apparent. And once I seen he was a black man, he did black things for black people, things, and got rings. So I respect him. So and since Kareem is losing his mind in old age and becoming a coon, I mean, I'm glad, if God allowed me to be alive to see LeBron take his record. Good.
Man, Kareem is tripping, y'all. He's been tripping. And I've been giving Kareem passes, though, acting like I just don't want to see it. You know what I'm saying?
He's like he's in the sucking plate.
Yeah. And then if you do the history on Kareem, man, Kareem had a mentor, man, that came up on the other side of a bad situation. Let's say that because, we got to keep our brand special. But, yeah, it was unfortunate for his mentor. If y'all want to check out Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's story, definitely research it. But ever since then, he's been real coonery to me. And I'm going to say this. I don't call him coonery right now. I do want to show respect for Kareem, you know. But man, Kareem, you're slipping, man. You're slipping, Kareem. Talk to us, Rob.
Yeah, I got a love-hate relationship with Brian. Like Brother Leo said, he kind of came in and they anointed him from the gate, from high school. Like, why am I watching this high school game on ESPN? We ain't no pro games to watch, but they had the LeBron game, but I know he lacks the killer instinct that people say and all of that because we were expecting him to be Jordan. He's not Jordan. I think he's more Magic than Jordan. But I have seen him, especially in that Cavs series. I seen him activate that killer instinct when he had to take on the Warriors by himself, pretty much. Kevin Love was hurt. J.R. Smith was calling stupid timeouts and doing weird stuff. And, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. But the point is, I got to give LeBron credit. It starts with him having a black wife, a brown skin wife. I love that about him. I love his activism. Even though it's kind of a watered down version of the activism, but activism is activism, and he does do his thing in that department. And the man is basically a child star, and we know how those child stars usually don't turn out too well. With all of the stuff that he's been through, you never hear nothing bad about him. I'm not saying he never do nothing bad, but all you can question about him is really on the court. Did he pass when he should have shot? Did he shoot when he should have passed? That, but off the court, he's been, and I do think that, though, because of who Kareem was, I do think the league is really trying to eradicate him. I'm hearing talk like he's out of the greatest conversation now because LeBron's going to pass him up. And Kareem doesn't have it. I think because of who he wasn't smiling. He wasn't marketable. He was antisocial. He was black. His name is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know what I'm saying? I think they want to get that brother's name off the list as soon as possible. And
but he had a Heidi, though. He had a Heidi, though.
Yeah.
All that black power activity, he had a Heidi. He kept him a Heidi.
That's true. That's true.
I want to say, I remember this young kid, man, coming out of where LeBron from? He's from something Ohio.
Akron,
Ohio. Yeah, thank you. And I remember my brother Marlon, man, saying, man, you need to check out this kid. We always would check out, because back then they used to have the Slam magazines. So if you top East Coast or Midwest ball player, West Coast ball player, you made those Slam magazines. And I remember my brother Marlon saying, man, check out this dude LeBron, man. He in high school, he's killing. And all of a sudden ESPN showing his games because he's going. He's the truth. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Because we always said that. I mean, we done seen Kobe come. We done seen KD come. We done seen T-Mac. All these guys came out of high school. So I'm like, yeah, all right. But then I remember him going through. Now, mind you, this brother's been playing 19 years, fellas. I remember when he was a young man on that Cleveland team and fresh out of high school, had to lead men. And he didn't have stars. Larry Hughes was great. He didn't have stars.
He didn't have no bums neither. Come on now. He didn't have no bums neither.
But he had to grow up.
He didn't have no Anthony Peeler. He didn't have no old-ass Joe Smith.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And he had to go through that Boston series. And KD and them beat him up like they should have and sent him to Miami. But the thing that I give love to this dude, LeBron, he's not my favorite player. Well, but I love the game and I love the historical parts that I'm about to mention. This brother went to 10 straight championships. I don't care if you won or won or lost. The fact that your body had to go through 82 games, year in, plus he was playing all these damn Olympics and all that, and you went to 10 straight NBA championships. NBA ain't no punk league. Everybody's been good. So you go to this 10 straight, and then there's a team that is challenging our great Chicago Bulls for the best record ever, Golden State. And this dude, LeBron, you mean to tell me they were down 3-1? Mind you, in no sport, nobody comes back down 3-1. This dude goes ahead and knocks off this great team, 73-9, down 3-1. And then statistically, they said that this dude averaged more points, more rebounds, and more assists than both teams' players. Incredible. Talk to me.
Yeah, I'll say this. He definitely had some scrubs on his team. I mean, he had Eric Snow at the point guard back in the day, in the early time. I mean, he had his share of scrubs. Like, he had some straight scrubs on his team. And I'll give him credit for carrying that team as far as he did. I will say this, though. LeBron James is something we'll never see, only because the man has he's got more assists than Magic Johnson and about to have more points than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's crazy.
So I gotta respect him. I gotta put, hate aside. Like you said, playing deep into June every year, 6 and 7 games every year for 10 straight seasons. See, I believe when it comes to championships, I believe this. I heard Dead Prez say, I think it was Dead Prez, he said rappers don't go platinum, record companies go platinum. And I feel the same about the NBA and all sports. Players don't win championships, organizations win championships. I mean, we talking about the owner, we talking about the trainers. Everybody got to come together to make this happen. But with that being said, no player has more effect on winning that I've seen than putting LeBron James on the team. Just,
no doubt.
Even now, even though they're losing, and you take LeBron off that team, you might have #1 draft pick next year. So that's how I feel.
Take LeBron James off that team right now, and they might ball out.
Hell no. I saw them the other night. They looked so damn horrible. They look like a D-League team. Bron looks so but still he's God. and I have a guy, man, that was talking to me earlier today, and he was like, "Yeah, but he's stat chasing." I'm like, "Come on, do we always got to beat up our people?" It's like if we ain't shit, then we ain't shit. But if we get to the upper echelon, we ain't shit. It's like, come on, man, you have not seen no other, and we're just talking NBA right now.
Yeah.
You ain't seen nobody in the NBA do what he's doing. Nobody. And yeah, people could say, Jordan, man, Jordan never lost a fight. Yeah, and I wouldn't argue that. Jordan's the greatest ever. But I'm not going to knock this man like he's not on the Mount Rushmore too. With the shit he's done, I've never seen Jordan come back down 3-1.
Now, he did get a championship before Jordan. He did get a championship before Jordan.
And, you know, I'm happy for him. Magic got one. Kobe got one. I'm glad that our people our heroes, I should say, are getting those rings, because a ring is not easy. A ring is not easy. Every day I look at Charles Barkley, and I'm like, damn, Chuck. You know, Chuck be bullshitting too. But from an athlete's perspective, man, Chuck was the mound round the rebound. 6'5", damn near 300 chunky ass pounds, and he was out jumping people, out rebounding. He learned to develop a nice little trade. Man, he was MVP of 1 year and even challenged the Chicago Bulls team. He didn't have a lot of stars either. He had Kevin Johnson, but then he had slow ass these great shooters under Dan Martin, but them couldn't play defense. Barkley had to will that Phoenix team. You know? It still hurts me that he left Philly, because I was a Philly fan back then. I liked Mo Cheeks, Andrew Toney, White Boy Bobby Jones, Dr. J, Moses, Barkley. Talk to me.
Yeah, I think this whole narrative is that if you don't win a championship or you're judged by the number of championships is flawed. I mean, kudos to those who do get the championship. I think that's a heck of a piece to add to your legacy. But people know Charles Barkley not for the things that he's done, but for him not having a championship ring. He's like the poster child for people that don't have a championship ring. And it's probably because every time him and Shaq go to get into it, Shaq say, "Hey man, I got 4 or 5 of these rings. You ain't got no ring." And it kind of just takes away from what he actually did. I remember a story he told where he said he was at the Olympic Games and Chuck Daly said to him, "Hey man, to be honest, you're probably the second best player I ever saw." And Barkley said, "You mean there's somebody better?" You feel what I'm saying? Right. So if people who knew. I think on that same documentary, Christian Laettner was like, "Hey man, I know y'all like Jordan." He's like, "But this Barkley cat is this." And you look at the highlights of him. You talk about Zion Williamson. This man was, Zion before Zion, just bullying people, just killing it. But his legacy is didn't win a championship. Patrick Ewing never won a championship. And I just think it's unfair because you got scrubs on teams that got championship rings. They're being considered for the Hall of Fame, Robert Horry, not a scrub, but closer to a scrub than he is a legend on the court in terms of basketball ability. I mean, it's debatable, but
that hurt.
I never seen the Robert Horry highlight tape where he was doing too much.
Right. No, he was a marksman. Only his
marksman. He had a little athleticism in his younger days, but I don't think he ever averaged over 10, 12, 13 a game. Yeah. You can fact check me on that. But the point I'm saying is he's held in such high esteem as this winner.
Yeah.
And you got people who did everything they could to get their bum team to the championship, and they're labeled failures because they didn't win.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, your boy Dwight Howard, he's somewhere over in Japan now, balling out crazy. I saw him balling out, and first thing I thought was, it's the program. Sometimes you have to just play a certain role wherever team you go. And I felt like Dwight Howard could do that in the NBA, but he wasn't the main guy anymore. He hasn't been the main guy in quite some time. He's always been the third or fourth guy. But I tell you what, looking at this Lakers team, they could use that dude. They could have used Dwight Howard right now as a backup. As a backup to Anthony Street Clothes David, like Charles Barkley likes to call it. Talk to me, brother Leo.
I don't know why they just don't call back Cousins, man. I mean, I don't know what they got against that dude. Cousins still can play, and I think he can make an immediate impact on the Lakers right now.
Do you think he can run the court, man? He done had some ACLs, man, and you got to be able to run that floor. The NBA is so fast right now. What's your thoughts?
Hey, man, we done seen people get repaired knees, ACLs, all that. Like, look at AP. You know what I'm saying? When he run around with some reconstructed situations, you know what I'm saying? Robert Smith, you know what I'm saying? And that's a high impact game right there. So, yeah, he should be able to do that. Modern medicine.
Yeah. I got one thought on Dwight Howard, and that is instead of trading away our future for the Minnesota Timberwolves for Rudy Gobert, who does the same things that Dwight Howard could have did, we could have signed Dwight Howard for the veterans minimum and got the same player. But you got goofy people in the front office. They just do goofy things.
Isn't that a shame, man? That damn. You've been watching these guys play for 7, 8, 9 years. They're established vets. They're not destructive in the locker room. I've never heard stories of Dwight Howard being a bad locker room guy. And I'm not expecting him to give me 30 points. The average fans, that's what they say. Oh, we got him. He ain't going to score. Well, that's not what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to protect the paint. And if I can get a good 16 out of a Dwight Howard, maybe 18, and 10 boards, I'll go with that. Yeah. I'll take that from that spot. Also in the news, speaking of the Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell, is being talked about in trade talks to go to Miami for that guard. I forgot his name. Help me out here. That was in Toronto. That's now the point guard at Miami. I forgot his name. A little short, stubby dude, man. Yeah. I forgot his name, but hey, leave his name in the comments. Who's the point guard for the Miami Heat right now that used to play on that Toronto team that won a championship with Kawhi Leonard? I forgot his name.
It's not Lowry, is it?
Yeah, Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry, yeah.
You know, when I think of Kyle Lowry and his body shape, and he's a great competitor.
Right.
But I always want Colin to be there. Colin Elementary.
Yeah.
Great friend. Same body build back then.
Yeah.
But I think Colin had more of a floor general leadership than Kyle Lowry, and that's debatable because Kyle Lowry had a ring and he helped get that ring. But every time I see Kyle Lowry, I think to myself, damn, Colin could be at that point back then. He should have stayed in the NBA longer. But that was a generation. Tell me, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Kyle Lowry? My bad. Question coming to.
I was waiting for if he wanted to chime in. I didn't want to dominate, but I will say this: I think that D'Angelo Russell is a shoot first point guard. He's not an orchestrator of our offense. We got enough one-on-one shooting guys on the team. We need somebody that's going to facilitate. Dare I say, somebody like Kyle Lowry, even Khalid. I seen Khalid. Again, we're talking about people that affect winning. He's just a dude that affects winning. North High 3 in a row, goes to Connecticut, wins one in the first 2 years he was there.
Great.
And that's just, you got to have basketball IQ. You got to be thinking about more than just trying to get your shots off and get your stats up. You got to really be a facilitator. I like the Timberwolves better when the other guy come in, a little short, McLaughlin or whatever, because he out there driving, he passing, he creating. We got some straight dogs on the team that can shoot, but everybody can't just. What offense are you running, Cat? I mean, why are you dribbling from the 3-point line and you're 7'1"? It's like some goofy stuff I see. And I don't know if it's because players have too much power now and the coach can't tell them nothing because they so rich.
Right.
The reason why Deion said he wouldn't coach in the NFL, I don't know what it is, but it's sad to watch Minnesota sports in general because we know outside of the Lynx, we never really had no real shot. It's because of goofiness up top. It's always that.
Do you think, and I'm gonna send this question to Brother Leo, do you think Minnesota really just cares about the corporate endorsement and just selling tickets? They don't want to win championships. They just want to sell tickets. Hey, come out, get out the snow, come sit in our beautiful stadiums, give us $400 or $500 a family, and have a nice day. What's your thoughts?
The best thing that happened to Minnesota was when the Twins won those World Series. It made all the professional teams in Minnesota or reinforced the theory that you can sneak up and win a championship on the sneak. And that's why you have the Vikings always getting retread quarterbacks, giving them big money, and they ain't nothing. And I mean, they're always trying to win it. I mean, Minnesota does not believe in rebuilding and putting out a good product. They always want to win shit on the cheap. They'll get a good draft pick and surround them with a bunch of bums and goons, and that's it.
Do y'all think that it's time for Cat to go? Let's start recouping some of those draft picks we gave away to get Rudy.
Who would you get?
You gave away like 5 picks for Rudy.
I mean, who would you get?
At this point,
you can bank the picks.
Look, we winning right. Our record's kind of the same without him as it was winning.
Right.
I think more than Cat needs to go, I think that coach needs to go, or somebody up top. Whoever's making these goofy decisions. I mean, what? Some
Why
stuff just don't make sense.
ran through Ant-Man?
Yeah. Ant's the guy. And we need to just sit everybody down and say, hey, this is the guy. D'Angelo, pass to this guy. You defer to this guy. Run some pick and rolls with Rudy Gobert instead of just, I don't know, man. I just think there's a lot of goofiness going on. Like, why would you do that?
Hey, dude's still a pup too. He got big feet for a dude's still a pup.
Right.
He got a major upside to him. Please, I hope Minnesota don't lose that dude.
Oh, you talking about Rudy?
No.
Oh, you talking about
Edmund.
him? Oh, yeah. That boy's incredible, man. He wants to win. He's a Georgia boy, man. He comes from a winning area.
Can I say this?
Go ahead.
I was watching one of the last games they played, and I seen Jalen Rose say, Anthony Edwards is a stud. Right before the commercial break, he said he's a stud, and they better not lose him to Atlanta.
Ooh.
And when he said that, now you could just say, oh, he's just talking, but players talk. Players know what players want. They got the networking of players and ex-players. I think he was really putting something out there that might come to fruition a little bit later, especially if we don't start winning, you know?
No doubt. All right, well, listen, people, go ahead and leave your comments and your thoughts on the show tonight on Anthony Edwards. On LeBron James, again, is 148 points away from breaking Kareem Abdul's record. I apologize for not getting the actual point total that Kareem holds. I think it's somewhere around 39,000 points, whatnot. But this is going to end our show. But before we go, I'm going to ask my co-host tonight, think of an athlete, any athlete in the history of, you know how we are, our historianism of sports. Who would you like to see on the big screen? It's life story. Jackie Robinson's story. How about Aaron Pryor? Who would you like to see? Who would you like to see on the big screens? Life story athlete.
Man. You know what?
Leon Spinks.
The Spinks boys. Did they grow up in Detroit? Was that Detroit where they grew up?
St. Louis.
Woo! Yeah. Rob, what's your thoughts?
That's tough. On the big screen, I probably would like to see, and it's going to be controversial, but I would like to see Michael Jordan on the big screen. But not the Michael Jordan that we've been shown. Okay. I'm talking about the real Michael Jordan, who I hear likes to smoke weed, and who was, doing the things the human things, because I'm not vilifying him, right, but who like to do the human things that, because I believe he was protected by the NBA, because he was the bag. You always got to protect the bag. It goes back to that political stuff. To a certain degree, I believe a lot of the things he did was swept under the rug. So I would like to see what the real Michael Jordan, the human, and all of his pluses and minuses, goods and bads, pros and cons, flaws and all of his glory on the big screen with a real live production.
Absolutely. And if I gotta take a pick before we go, on the big screen, I would have to say Sugar Ray Leonard. Him going into the Hagler fight, him losing his eye, what is it, a retina? Is that what that's called?
He had a detached retina.
The Tommy Hearns fight. What's the Mexican fighter's name? I apologize. The Hands of Stone.
Roberto Duran.
Panamanian. Yeah, he's Panamanian.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be a great movie. So, viewers, let us know here at Coffee Talk Podcast tonight, what athlete's life story would you like to see on the big screen? Go ahead and leave a comment. Make sure you share this video. It's been a great show tonight. and make sure you subscribe. We got the flavor for you. Whether you don't like us on Wednesday night or you love us, but you just can't get here on Wednesdays, you can catch us on Friday or Saturday alternate nights. You also can catch us at the beginning of the week. Alternate Sunday, Monday nights. Alternate Sunday, Monday nights, we give you the culture. Wednesday night, we give you the sports. Friday and Saturday, we like to just have a good time. You might catch us rolling up, drinking, just talking shit like we would do if we was at a bar or a social club, just being us, having fun. That's what we do on Friday and Saturday nights. This is Coffee Talk Podcast. This is my co-host and guest, Robson Q. My other co-host and guest, Brother Leo. This has been our show tonight. Fellas, y'all want to say anything? You got anything happening right now? Go ahead, Rob.
No, just peace and blessings. Pray for the community. We got to do better, and we shall do better. That's all I got to say.
Brother Leo.
Hey, everybody stay safe and stay black.
That's what's up. Hey, this is Coffee Talk Podcast, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the screen real quick. And I just want to say, this is our Wednesday night sports edition. I had a blast tonight. There was a lot of stuff that we talked about, few little hidden jewels up in there, definitely. But it was all sports. We love to support our sports, our heroes. And we understand, man, that they in a position where, you know, a lot of things go left sometimes and they're just trying to build their legacy. So as they do that, we're going to continue to support them as long as that they support us. You know what I'm saying? So this is Coffee Talk Podcast, our Wednesday night sports edition. I am your host, MISHUMA, SABA, SABA, and this is our cultural variety podcast show. See y'all this weekend. Peace.